Spoilers for Adachi and Shimamura and Rent a Girlfriend. Adachi and Shimamura is an interesting subject matter to me. It originated as a light novel, was adapted into a manga, which was serialized and readapted into another manga, which was then adapted into an anime. For your story to climb from light novel to manga to anime is something a lot of writers and/or mangaka dream of. I'm not saying that this latter maps out a hierarchy of quality, but rather simply a hierarchy of resources. Anime is lucrative. It usually consists of teams of people working together. There is a lot of time and money involved, and a lot riding on the success of the author's work. And that's where the story starts. Adachi and Shimamura is one of the few girls' love dramas with a full season of anime. It took a lot of work to get to that point, yet the series doesn't strike me as something that needed to be adapted into 12 episodes of anime. I guess you can say it's a slow burn, but when the only ounce of intrigue is the main romance, it doesn't feel very rewarding to read. We have a few good moments that pertain to Adachi's mom, but after that, everything becomes hard to remember. I have no plot points, no touching scenes, nothing. But then, something happened. One of the more recent arcs explores Adachi's feelings of jealousy toward Shimamura's old friend. During the summer festival, Adachi finds Shimamura spending time with someone else instead of her. Without getting too much into detail, Adachi feels that Shimamura betrayed her, going to the festival with someone else while she works her job. With her sadness and frustration piling up, she decides to call Shimamura. She doesn't know what to say, but her thoughts keep swirling around. Then something takes me by complete surprise, something that words can't properly describe. Imagine flipping the page over and seeing this. Both pages are taken up by a faceless, pleading Adachi, text bubbles taking up most of the space. But this isn't what she says. This is. More than 10 paragraphs of a character spilling their guts out to someone over the phone. Not a bunch of small chunks, but one gigantic sprawl of text. So what does the person on the other side of the call say? What a pain. To say that this was the emotional catharsis I was waiting for would be a lie. I love this panel, but I don't have much emotional investment in the story in the first place. This manga just isn't made for my sensibilities. I have another story I want to share with you, one from a manga I was, briefly invested in. Rent a Girlfriend is a manga that has a multiple season anime adaptation. Its prevalence during the release of its anime far outshined the underwhelming reception of Adachi and Shimamura. You might not even know what Adachi and Shimamura is, but there's a very high chance you've heard of Rent a Girlfriend. Well, is it good? Is it trash? Well, here's my take. I don't like Rent a Girlfriend, but I do like one of its story arcs. If you don't want it spoiled, well, really, I respect your choice to read the manga or watch the anime, but I don't think this spoiler ruins anything for you. Well, actually, I just said that it was the only good part, so maybe you should skip this part of the video and only read the part that I like. It doesn't matter. This is your spoiler warning. In one of the arcs, our main character Kazuya tries to help his friend/crush Mizuhara make a movie to show to her grandmother. Kazuya usually sucks as a character, but for once he grows a backbone and helps assemble a team of people to film an adaptation of a children's book. In a show full of wacky anime hijinks and fan service, the author of the manga gets possessed and decides to write something serious. This isn't about choosing which cute girl you want to root for. This isn't about keeping dumb secrets. This is about helping a friend fulfill their wish before it's too late. They shoot the movie, they show it to Mizuhara's grandmother, and her grandmother dies. For the next several chapters, our characters deal with the grief. In my absolute favorite part of the manga, Kazuya and Mizuhara spend time together at a park. Mizuhara keeps up the act of being happy. She notes that someday Kazuya will be happier with a real girlfriend. Kazuya retorts. He says that although their relationship is fake, Mizuhara is perfect the way she is. In a roundabout way, he talks about how much she hides her sadness from others, and that he admires her strength and kindness, despite the pain she harbors. He tells her that she doesn't have to put on the act. Then we get to see her face. She blushes. A tear falls down her face. She wipes the tear. More tears fall. She has trouble, and the tears swell up. And she cries. Not just crying, but bawling in anguish. She grabs Kazuya's shirt, and she calls for her grandma. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? I didn't know Rent a Girlfriend had a season 3 anime, and honestly thought that it just stopped at season 2, and that season 3 actually covers the whole entire arc that I was just talking about, so I guess you can watch the anime and not read the manga, but I would still recommend the manga version of this story arc, because I feel like you can interpret the events and interpret the emotions your own way, and you don't have the anime to spell it out for you. As in, I think it's much more touching and heartbreaking reading this part of the story than it is watching it. I don't think the adaptation to screen really captures the catharsis, I guess. So why are we here? Why are we talking about manga, and why am I talking about all of these events and parts of manga that I really like? Well, it's kind of weird. The manga you've been seeing up here isn't manga that I really like. I have manga that I do like something like this or something like this, and I like them enough to buy them. A lot of these that you've been seeing here are things that were gifted to me, as in someone said, hey, I know you like manga, here's a manga. So very thankful for that to happen, but I didn't spend my own money with it. I didn't decide to buy it or purchase it. Most of the time I read manga online, and it's either a subscription or it's free. So buying it and spending the $12 to $18 it might cost to buy a manga means more, and that I could have physical copies of each. But I always pivot around talking about manga because, as I stated previously, anime has a lot riding on it, and that when people make anime, they want it to appeal to a lot of people. And that's a good thing, it needs to make the money. But for something like manga or a light novel, this is a light novel. I like this manga so much that first of all, it's not completely translated into English as a manga, but it is completely translated into English as a light novel, so I know everything that happens in the story. But manga can be more personal. For all of the anime that there is dozens more manga that caters to your and mine specific needs for a story and the characters and this and that. As in, anime has to appeal to some group of people, but a manga can particularly appeal to you. For a smaller group of people, but it can have more of an impact because of how specific a story might be. I don't really like to talk about that kind of stuff. We'll get a bit more serious. I love anime, but certain manga sit extremely close to my heart. It sounds silly to say that I live vicariously through the things that I read, things I don't mention because of how much it reveals about me. I don't want to talk about how do we relationship, but its deeper meanings and important moments will be way too embarrassing to talk about to my current audience. I don't want people to take a peek behind the curtain. I was really into anime analysis when I was in high school. I wanted this YouTube channel to mimic creators I admired. I mimicked short-form anime videos. I attempted longer-form critique in the style of Action Button. I make discography videos like Mike the Snare. And despite liking those videos, they don't hold the same value that other videos do. I normally don't strive to make content. Very perilous word, content. I want to make something as moving as the manga I read, so I want to put my heart and soul into it. I want to erase my name, erase my face, everything about me, so that I could feel more free and at ease. Every lead me has shifted with the times. I invited friends to see my content. I showed my face to a very small audience. Even my cousins know that my YouTube channel exists. I'm grateful for it, but being every lead prevents certain parts of my brain from unleashing my full creative potential. So many pieces of art I hold dear get lumped into being YouTube videos. It's a raging whirlpool of YouTube videos. I put together a playlist of the videos that I love, things that stood above all of the other YouTube videos that I watched, but I feared that making it public revealed way too much about me. To sum it up, I care a little too much about manga. I care a little too much about how manga affects me. I care a little too much about how other people talk about how much manga has affected them. Some days I like making YouTube videos, and some days I just want to spill my guts. And that's why I don't talk about manga.